A very good morning to all of you children. I welcome you all in this video where I'm going to talk about chapter 11, that is force and pressure, from class 8th science. Now this is the second part of a video. In first part I have discussed about force, and in this part I'm going to discuss about pressure. So what is this pressure? How can we define it? So pressure can be defined as the force exerted per unit area, and the unit for pressure is Pascal or Newton per square meter. These are two different units. You can either use Pascal or you can use Newton per square meter. But let's just understand what this definition of pressure trying to say. Force exerted per unit area. What does that mean? Let's understand this by this image. Now, what is this pressure? It is nothing but it's a quantity by which we measure and describe the effect of force acting on a surface. So this quantity, which is called pressure, it takes two things into account. First thing, the force applied. Second thing is the area over which the force is applied. So this particular quantity, which talks about pressure as well as the area over which the pressure force is applied, is called pressure. Look at this image. Now here a pin is kept between index finger and the thumb. But you just notice one thing, the area of contact between the upper part of the pin and the index finger is more, whereas the area of contact between the thumb and tip of the pin is very less. Now both the fingers, index finger and thumb, is applying force from both the sides, but the area over which the force is applied is different in both the cases. In case of index finger it is more, in case of thumb the area of contact is very less. So what is this pressure? The pressure which measures and describes the force applied on the surface as well as the area over which the force is applied. So this is called pressure. Now let's move ahead and talk about relationship between force and pressure. We can understand the relationship between them by this formula, which is called pressure. Pressure is equal to force upon area. Now by this we can infer two things. First thing is pressure is directly proportional to force. What does that mean? That means if force applied is more, the pressure would also be more. If force applied is less, the pressure will also be less, and vice versa. Second inference is pressure is inversely proportional to area. What does that mean? That means if area of contact or area over which the force is applied is greater, the pressure would be lesser. If the area is less, the pressure would be more. So they are opposite of each other. That is what it is called. Pressure is inversely proportional to area. Let's just understand this by this particular image. Now here in first part of the image you can see a bottle, the person is trying to push the bottle, hammer the bottle into the wall. Do you think it would be moving into the wall? No. Why? Because the area of contact is more and hence the pressure is less. But instead of a bottle, if you keep a nail, a pointed nail, what will happen? The area of contact is less. Tip of the nail has very less area of contact with the wall. What will happen? When you hammer it, it will move into the wall. It will enter into the wall. Now by this we can say that pressure and area are inversely proportional to each other. Now recall the first image what we have seen. The finger, index finger and thumb, and in between these two fingers the pin was kept. At which finger do you think you will feel the pain or pressure from the pin? Correct, it is from the it is on your thumb. Why? Because the area of contact of tip of the pin and the thumb is less. So when the area is less, the pressure will be more, right? So this is the relationship between force, pressure, as well as pressure and area. Now, another very important question here: does liquid and air exerts pressure? And the answer is yes. Liquid and air both exerts pressure. So let's just talk about liquid pressure first. Now here we are going to talk about properties of liquid pressure one by one. The first property is liquid exerts pressure downward. What does that mean? Look at this particular image. What can you see? There is a transparent pipe which is empty. We do not have anything over there except air. So at the bottom of this transparent pipe, a balloon is tied. Now try to fill this pipe a bit, and what you will notice that the balloon has bulged out little bit. You fill the pipe more and the bulging of balloon will increase. What does that prove? That proves that liquid exerts pressure downwards. Next property: liquid exerts pressure sideways. That means on the side of the container, liquid will exert the pressure. And how can you prove that? By this particular experiment, simple experiment. Take a container and on the side you have a part where you can attach a balloon. Fill this container with liquid and you will see that the balloon has bulged out. Why? Because of the presence of water. And why because of the presence of water? Because the liquid water, it has certain pressure, hydrostatic pressure. So due to the pressure, the balloon has bulged out. That means liquid exerts pressure sideways. Third property: water pressure increases with depth. So as you go deeper, the pressure of water increases. Look at this particular experiment. You just take a container, you can also take a bucket, and make three different holes at different depth, right? Just close it with the tape and fill the container or bucket with water, and at one go just remove the tape. What will happen? You will see the water fountain which is coming out from different holes. They are covering different distances, right? So the bottom hole, the hole which is there at the bottom of the bucket, it is covering more distance. That means the pressure at the bottom is more. The second one, which is little upper, little upside from the bottom part or at the middle of the bucket, it is covering little lesser distance, and which is the hole which is there at the top of the bucket, it is covering further less distance. So what does that means? That means water pressure increases with the depth. At the depth, at deeper end, it has more pressure. You go little up, the pressure will also decrease. You go little more up and the pressure will further decrease. Next property: water pressure at same depth is the same in all direction. So here what we are talking about, at the same depth the pressure is common in all the direction. Look at this particular diagram and you will see that hole has been created at the same level, and once you fill the container and take out the tape, okay, what will happen? The water fountain will cover the same distance from all the holes because they are there at the same depth, and hence the pressure in all those holes will be same. So what can we infer from this? That the water pressure at the same depth is the same in all directions. Last one: liquid pressure depends on height of the water column and not on the shape of the container. Let's just understand this by this image. You see, here there are 5 different containers are kept, but all these 5 different container is filled at the same level. So the height of water column is same in all the container, and hence the pressure exhibited by liquid is same in all the container. Look at the second image and you'll understand this concept. In first container which is getting filled with water, the water column is less and hence the pressure exerted by the liquid is also less. But in the second container where the water column is higher, what is happening? The pressure exerted by it is also higher. So height of the water column will decide the pressure which is exerted by the liquid. If the water column has lesser height, less pressure. If it has more height, more pressure. So this is something which is called liquid pressure depends on height of the water column and not on the shape of the container. Now let's talk about atmospheric pressure. We've talked about liquid pressure. Now it's time to talk about atmospheric pressure. What is this atmospheric pressure? You know that the air is present all around us and the air is also present above us, and this air which is present above us is pressing down on us with a force equal to 1 kilogram on every square centimeter. So air above us try to pressurize us, try to put a pressure on us, and this pressure is called the atmospheric pressure. Now atmospheric exerts pressure that we can understand by this simple experiment. Look at this particular image. What can you see? A tin can has been taken and it is a little filled with water. Now once it is heated, what will happen? The steam would be generated. Now we'll cover the mouth of the tin can so that the steam can remain inside the tin can. Right. Now you see the air is present all around it and it is trying to put a pressure on everything, on all the object. So you see the air which is present outside the tin can, it is equivalent to the steam pressure which is present inside the tin can. So there is no harm to the tin can is taking place. Now just in the second part of this particular experiment, what can you see? That take out this tin can out of heating and pour some cold water into it. So as soon as you will pour the cold water into the tin can, what will happen? The steam which is present inside the can will be condensed. It will cooled, condensed into water. So when the steam would be condensed into water, the pressure inside the tin can will decrease. Now the atmospheric pressure is more and the steam pressure is less. So what will happen? The tin can will crumple. Right. So let's just see one by one by steps in a stepwise manner. So what we have done it, we have taken a tin can and we filled it with a little bit of water. Now the air which was present in the tin can will come out, okay, so that the water can boil, and after boiling what will happen? The steam would be generated. We'll close the mouth of the tin can with a rubber cork. Now the pressure outside and inside of the tin can is equal. The atmospheric pressure outside and the steam pressure inside the tin can, they are equal. So there will not be any harm to the tin can. And now what we are going to do is we'll pour some cold water onto the tin can and it will be crushed. Why it will be crushed? Because once you are pouring the cold water, the steam inside the can condenses into water and the pressure inside the tin can decreases as compared to the atmospheric pressure outside, and hence it crumples, right? So this proves that atmospheric pressure or the air, it exerts the pressure. So that's all about this particular chapter, force and pressure. Thank you.